Welcome to the Golden Gems podcast. Today we're taking a deep dive into Edward Snowden and the architecture of the modern surveillance state.
And it's a topic that feels incredibly immediate this morning, doesn't it? Even 13 years on.
It really does. I think we need to ground everyone right here, right now. It's January 2026. And, looking at the news this week, it feels like the ghost of Edward Snowden is back haunting Washington.
You're talking about that Odyssey clip, I assume?
That's the one. It just popped up on the decentralized platform a few days ago. It's from a 2013 interview, but it's hit, 45 million views in 48 hours?
Which is just staggering for an old piece of footage. The internet usually forgets everything.
But the reason it's gone viral is the precision of it. It's almost chilling. In the clip, Snowden is warning that the data collection, the thing everyone was freaking out about back then.
That was just the prelude.
Exactly. He said the real endgame was the automated processing of all that data.
And fast forward to today, here we are in 2026 and what's happening on Capitol Hill. The congressional hearings on the new Algorithmic Security Act.
That's the connection everyone's making. This act is basically designed to legalize predictive AI surveillance. It's not just we listen to your call. It's our algorithm predicts your threat.
Precisely. The timeline is a straight line. Snowden revealed the database in 2013. Now we're seeing the machine that feeds on that database. And you look at the news from San Francisco, the DOJ unsealing indictments against encryption developers.
The timing is not a coincidence.
Not at all. The debate has completely shifted. It's not if they're watching anymore. We know they are. The question now is, what does the machine do with what it sees?
So to really understand this machine, this algorithmic security thing, you have to go back to the guy who first showed us the blueprints. And I think the place to start isn't the leak itself, but the person. There's this myth that he was some kind of radical outsider.
That's the story people tell, but it's just factually wrong. He wasn't an outsider. He was the ultimate insider.
He was born inside the system.
He was a child of the fortress. I mean, there's no better way to describe it. You just look at his family history. He's a product of the federal government. Born in '83, Elizabeth City, North Carolina. But his father was a Coast Guard officer.
And his mother worked for the U.S. District Court in Maryland.
So this is a house where the government isn't some abstract monster. It's the employer. It pays the mortgage.
It's just the background radiation of life.
It's the fabric of their community.
Yeah.
Especially when they move to Maryland and he grows up literally in the shadow of Fort Meade.
The NSA headquarters.
The Black Chamber itself. I mean, in that kind of town, security clearances are basically social currency. The most important thing you can say at a dinner party is nothing at all about your work.
That silence means you're important.
He grew up breathing that air. He didn't hate the state. He was raised to revere it.
But his path through that world was, it was messy. He wasn't some Ivy League guy tapped for service.
No, his academic path was jagged, and I think that's key to his whole psychology. He was at Arundel High School, but he dropped out. He got mono, was out for almost 9 months, never graduated with his class, just got a GED.
Which, for most people, would be the end of any chance at a high-level intelligence career. How does a GED holder get the keys to the kingdom?
Because the formal education system wasn't for him, but the internet was. He was an autodidact, a creature of the early web. While his peers were at prom, he was on Ars Technica forums, on anime image boards.
Under the handle The True Ho, right?
That's the one. And if you dig up those old posts, you see this young guy just wrestling with the ethics of tech in real time. He wasn't learning from a syllabus. He learned how systems work by trying to break them. A classic hacker mindset.
And then 9/11 happens, and that patriotism he was raised with, it just kicks into high gear.
It does. May 2004, he enlists. Army Reserve, trying for Special Forces.
Special Forces. So he wasn't looking for a desk job. He wanted to go to Iraq and fight.
Oh, absolutely. He completely believed the official line, that the war was a mission of liberation. You have to remember that to understand what comes next. He truly wanted to free people. He bought the pitch.
So what happened? Why didn't he make it?
Physics. He broke both of his legs in a training accident at Fort Benning.
Oof. A brutal way to end a military career.
Devastated for him personally.
Yeah.
But, that physical break, it almost perfectly mirrors the ideological break that was coming. In his short time in the Army, he saw that the culture wasn't about liberation. He called it the mechanical application of force.
The Army doesn't ask, should we? It just asks, can we?
Exactly. So he's out, he's disillusioned with the shooting war, but he still has this urge to serve. And he's these incredible computer skills.
So he pivots to the digital battlefield.
Right. Starts at the bottom, a security guard at an NSA facility at the University of Maryland. But with his clearance and his skills, he just shoots up the ranks. By 2007, the CIA has him in Geneva under diplomatic cover.
And Geneva seems to be where the first real cracks appear for him. He's watching the sausage get made.
That's a great way to put it. He's seeing operatives get a Swiss banker drunk, encourage him to drive, and then use the DUI threat to flip him into an asset. It was just raw, ugly state power. But the real turning point, the thing that gave him the ability to do what he did, was in 2009. He leaves the CIA and becomes a private contractor for Dell.
Okay, let's pause there because the contractor angle is so important. Why would leaving the CIA for Dell give him more access? It seems counterintuitive.
Because of the job title. He wasn't an analyst anymore. He became a systems administrator.
A sysadmin.
And that's the critical difference. Think about it this way. An analyst is like a user on Facebook. You can see your feed. You can see the profiles you're allowed to see. But a systems administrator,
They built Facebook. They have the master password.
they have God mode. They do the raw database, the plumbing, the infrastructure that holds everything together.
An analyst sees the water from the tap. The sysadmin sees the entire grid of pipes.
Perfect analogy. And because the NSA's networks were so sprawling and patched together, they needed guys like Snowden, the contractors, to maintain it all. They gave him the keys to every room because he was the janitor.
And while he's a janitor at Yokota Air Base in Japan and then in Hawaii, he starts to see what the machine is really built for.
He sees the mission shifting. It wasn't about targeted foreign intelligence anymore. The entire architecture was being rebuilt for one single purpose: collect it all. It was a dragnet designed to catch every single thing in the ocean.
And there was one specific moment one day where it all just crystallized.
March 12, 2013.
James Clapper's testimony to Congress.
Senator Ron Wyden asked the Director of National Intelligence, James Clapper, a very, very direct question. He asked, does the NSA collect any type of data at all on millions or hundreds of millions of Americans?
And Clapper is under oath. This is on C-SPAN for the world to see.
And he looks Wyden right in the eye and says, no, sir, not wittingly.
Which was just a lie, a flat-out lie to the Senate.
It was perjury, a brazen, unbelievable lie. And you have to picture Snowden. He's watching this lie from the NSA's tunnel in Hawaii. He's watching the head of the entire intelligence community lie, and he knows it's a lie because he has programs like PRISM and XKeyscore open on his other monitor.
The cognitive dissonance must have been overwhelming.
That was the moment it snapped. He realized all the oversight, the Senate, the secret courts, the warrants, it was all just theater, a performance. And he decided that if the American people were ever going to know the truth, the system wasn't the one that would tell them.
He had to do it himself. So the heist begins. He takes medical leave from Booz Allen Hamilton. He'd moved there to get the last few documents, and he flies to Hong Kong.
And he chose Hong Kong very deliberately. It had a history of resisting Beijing, a free press. He checks into the Mira Hotel.
And this is where it really becomes a spy movie. The tradecraft details are just incredible. The magic mantle.
It sounds so theatrical, but it was deadly serious. When he needed to type in a password to show the journalists, Greenwald, Poitras, McCaskill, he'd throw this big red hood over his head and his laptop.
To block any hidden cameras from seeing his screen or his fingers.
Exactly. He knew if there was a camera in the smoke detector or on his own laptop, they could get his passwords. He stuffed pillows under the door to block listening devices.
You know, some would call that paranoid.
It's not paranoia when you know for a fact what your enemy is capable of. He was just showing them professional respect.
So he hands over this archive, and we really need to dig into what was in it. Looking back from 2026, it's easy to forget just how profound these revelations were. The first one was the Verizon order.
That was the smoking gun. It proved the dragnet was real and universal. The NSA was secretly compelling Verizon to hand over the telephony metadata of millions of its customers.
And the government's first response was, don't worry, it's just metadata, not the content.
Which is such a cynical argument. Metadata is the story of your life. If I know you called a crisis hotline at 2 in the morning, and then a divorce lawyer at 9, and then a specific clinic at 11, I don't need to hear a single word of the conversation.
And in 2026, that metadata is the fuel for the predictive AI.
It's everything. The AI doesn't need your words, it just needs your patterns. Then came PRISM.
The one that really hit Silicon Valley.
PRISM just shattered the internet's trust model. It showed the NSA had, essentially, a direct tap into the servers of Google, Facebook, Apple, all the giants. These companies who built their brands on protecting your data were handing it over.
The tool that always scared me the most, though, was XKeyscore.
XKeyscore was Google for a person's private life. Snowden said that from his desk, with no warrant, He could target anyone, a judge, you, me, the president, if he just had their personal email address.
No oversight at all.
Just a front-end interface.
Mhm.
You type in an email, press enter, and you get their chats, their search history, everything. A searchable database of humanity.
But the one revelation that I think the tech world truly saw as an unforgivable sin, and it connects to those indictments we're seeing now, was Bull Run.
Yeah. Bull Run was the most damning of all. It proved the NSA wasn't just passively listening in. They were actively, deliberately breaking the security of the internet for everyone.
How do you do that? How do you sabotage math?
Imagine you buy the best, most expensive safe in the world. You think you have the only combination. What Bull Run showed is that the NSA went to the safe maker beforehand and had them build a secret backdoor into it, a keyhole that only the NSA has the key to.
So the lock is broken from the start, by design.
Exactly. They were inserting backdoors into global encryption standards. They were weakening the very tools that keep hospitals, banks, and our entire digital lives safe, not just from the NSA, but from criminals and foreign adversaries.
It's like the fire department secretly disabling all the smoke detectors in town just in case they decide they want to start a fire later.
That's a chillingly accurate way to put it, and that is why the security community has never forgiven them.
So Snowden unleashes this. The world is just trying to process it. And then the manhunt begins. And this part of the story, it really shows the raw power of the U.S. government.
It was a full-court press. June 21st, 2013, the Department of Justice charges him under the Espionage Act of 1917.
And that specific law is important, isn't it?
It's crucial. The Espionage Act is a legal trap. It offers absolutely no public interest defense.
So he couldn't even argue in court that he did it for the good of the country.
He would be legally barred from it.
Yeah.
The jury would only be asked, did you take these documents, yes or no? His motives would be irrelevant. He was framed as a spy, not a whistleblower.
So he has to run. He's trying to get to Latin America. Ecuador, I think.
That was the plan, probably through Moscow and Havana. But when his plane landed in Moscow's Sheremetyevo airport, the trap sprung. The U.S. State Department canceled his passport while he was in midair.
So he gets to the passport control desk, and he
Yep.
is a ghost.
He's a non-person, stateless. He was stuck in that airport's transit zone for 39 days.
And during that time, we got that incredible demonstration of American power, the Evo Morales incident.
That was the moment the mask really came off. Evo Morales, the sitting president of Bolivia, is flying home from a conference in Russia. And suddenly, 4 European nations, France, Spain, Portugal, Italy, all closed their airspace to his presidential jet.
Because the U.S. thought Snowden might be on board, they forced down a head of state's plane.
They grounded and searched a sovereign leader's plane. It was an act of international air piracy, and it sent a message to every country in the world. We will do whatever it takes. We want him.
And Snowden wasn't even on the plane.
No, but that incident made it clear he could never travel again. The U.S. would just pluck him out of the sky. So he was forced to seek asylum in the one place powerful enough to say no to Washington.
Russia.
The irony is just crushing. The man exposing the authoritarian actions of his own government is forced into the arms of an actual authoritarian regime.
And the media, of course, had a field day with that.
Of course. But his life there isn't some luxury vacation. It's a gilded cage. He's a man without a country, cut off from his home. His partner, Lindsay Mills, joined him. They've married and had a family. But he's a digital ghost. He can appear on a video screen in an auditorium, but he can never walk into the room.
So here we are, 13 years later, looking at it all from 2026. Did it work? Was it worth it? We talk about the Snowden effect.
Oh, it's absolutely undeniable. He hardened the internet. Before 2013, end-to-end encryption was this niche, nerdy thing. After Snowden, it became the global standard.
WhatsApp, Signal, that little lock on your browser.
That lock is his legacy. He forced the big tech companies kicking and screaming to finally start locking their doors. He basically destroyed the innocence of the digital age, for better or worse.
But there's another piece to this, the part that gets lost in the traitor versus hero shouting match, the unopened vault.
The insurance files. And this, to me, is the single best piece of evidence that he was a principled whistleblower, not an agent of chaos.
But are they exactly?
He didn't just dump everything he took online. He withheld the most sensitive files, the technical blueprints for the NSA's cyber attack capabilities against other countries. He said releasing those would actively harm national security and it wouldn't serve the public interest.
So he curated the information.
He did. He made a judgment call. Those files are still out there, encrypted, the kind of dead man's switch. It proves he could have done far more damage, but he chose not to.
To bring it all back to where we started, it's really about the vocabulary.
Snowden gave us the language, metadata, backdoors, dragnet surveillance. We couldn't even have this debate about the Algorithmic Security Act of 2026 if he hadn't given us those words in 2013.
It's such a strange legacy. The state officially calls him a criminal. A huge portion of the population calls him a patriot. And he's still in Moscow watching it all unfold.
The final question, I think, is for you, for the listener. Snowden saw a machine being built to turn the internet into a system of control. He threw himself into the gears to try and slow it down. It slowed, but it never stopped. Now with AI, it's speeding up again.
And the question is, what do we do about it this time?
Exactly. If a government can punish the person who exposes its crimes against the very citizens it's meant to serve, can that government really claim to be a democracy at all?
A heavy thought to end on, but a vital one.
Indeed.
Thank you for listening to the Golden Gems podcast. We'll be back next time with another deep dive. Until then, keep exploring, keep listening, and keep celebrating the power of uncompromising voices.